or or better garden. That's not the way that I see the life, and I just try to do my way. I feel very lucky about all the things that are happening to me. And if at the end of my career I am able to win a couple of more Grand Slams and be closer to Roger, will be unbelievable. If not, for me, still unbelievable.
That's Rafael Nadal, who won his astounding 12th title at the French Open. Defeated Dominic Thiem 6-3, 5-7, 6-1, 6-1. So that's his 12th French Open championship. I remembered as I was watching John McEnroe comes out, I don't know what to ask you. You've won it so many times. I'm out of questions to ask you and all that. Interesting thing, the French Open next year figures to be played under the lights. They're going to add lights there in Paris. I guess that's one of the reasons why I took kind of an interest in it. I was just, it wasn't, it's in Paris. Who wouldn't want to go to Paris? I really need to, start to romance women and all that over in Paris. You can get away on Paris on a weekend or so. I mean, I'm not going to leave Tri-City Sports Now for Paris. Anyway, Marquis Bilson here, Tri-City Sports Now. What else can I tell you here about what's going on? 1420 WEMB Sports Radio, as well as jetbroadcasting.live, where you can listen to us throughout the world, such as Paris, or just watch on Facebook. By the way, like us on Facebook. Like 1420 WEMB Sports Radio Tri-Cities on Facebook, because if you do, you'll be part of the hot new thing. In fact, right now, this morning, we were 9 follows away from being the most followed sports radio station in the market. Now, 2 weeks ago, I think it was 79. Now it's 9. So we're really picking up. And we ask you to join it. You're able to watch the show, sports news, community news. I mean, the shooting in Kingsport actually had some updates there because Maria True was part of that. She was over at the Dancing with the Stars local event where I start to wonder, who are these people they're calling stars? But as Maria always says, it's for a good cause, Marky. Quit being so cynical. Yes, but I've never heard of these people. Yeah. Anyway, they're attractive, and they dress up, and they dance, and they were locked down, actually, on Saturday night at Meadowview, because somebody went nuts with a gun, which is always fun. Dripping with sarcasm, Marky moves to his next topic. Let's see here. I guess we're going to get to Holly Warlick here, and she did. She had a standing ovation at the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. And I think that goes back to what Gene Henley said on this show when she was embattled back in March and about to lose her job. Tennessee fans don't like Holly Warlick. Lady Vols fans do. And that's really telling, because this was the event for college basketball, women's college basketball, the Women's Hall of Fame down there in Knoxville. I got this question. I'm watching, I see the WNBA scores come through. Of course, WNBA is struggling. There are only 12 teams. Nobody ever talks about, let's have WNBA expansion. And then they play in sort of the trendy markets that want teams that are known for women's basketball. Like Connecticut or Las Vegas. That sort of thing. Start wondering, why not a WNBA team for Knoxville or East Tennessee? Or is it that we're not really women's basketball fans around here? We're more Tennessee fans, quote-unquote Lady Vols. But regardless, here's what occurred. You had the Hall of Fame. Beth Bass, late of ETSU, she was a player in the early 80s. Injury plague, did not play much. Her stats aren't worth repeating. I think she may have started like 9 games, played in 15. But she graduated on top of all the class in 1984 at ETSU, went on to work for several sneaker companies, and I don't know what it means to be a sneaker executive, and that's what gets you into the College Basketball Hall of Fame. But she worked alongside Pat Summitt, and the Hall of Fame is in Knoxville, and so Beth Bass, former Women's Basketball Coaches Association CEO, makes the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, along with former Tennessee Women's AD Joan Cronin, former NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Committee Chair Nora Lynn Finch, a lot of front office types, and Carolyn Bush-Roddy and Valerie Still. Also, Ticha Penichiro and Ruth Riley Hunter, also a couple of basketball players, they were inducted. However, all the previous inductees were introduced at the start of the ceremony. And the biggest crowd, the biggest ovation, remember, Lady Vols fans like Holly Warlick. I like Holly Warlick. She's been on this show. You can listen to her interview on YouTube that I did with her. I think she's a class act. I think she's a good coach. And I think that Tennessee will live to regret firing her. You heard me. And I don't think that Tennessee is funding the women's basketball program like they should. Not when Harper comes in, somehow makes more money than Warlick ever did at $750 a year. How come Warlick never made $700,000 a year? How come Louisville is paying their coach, who hasn't done as much in college basketball, twice what Holly Warlick makes? You want to talk about Vol for life, which I think is an marketing, really sort of cynical and sour on Tennessee today, but my goodness, you've got this circumstance where right now, Vanderbilt is passing him by as an athletic program. What do you want me to say? Oh, they play so well, they've had 2 straight losing football seasons, Oh, yes, the basketball team was ranked number 1, and they didn't go to the Final Four. Oh, yeah, they fired their basketball coach, and they're not paying her as much as her peers. Everything's great at Tennessee. You want me to say that? Because I know a lot of cheerleaders around here will do that, and that's why we say we're the home of real sports talk, not cheerleading, or not cheerleaders, here on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio. But at the start of the ceremony, Holly Warlick was announced, and she got an ovation. Biggest one of the night. She deserved it. Tennessee fans don't like Holly Warlick. Lady Vols fans do, and why shouldn't they? They've never won a national title without Holly Warlick. Never. She was bounced in the first round of the NCAA tournament. You mean like the Lady Vols were in 2009 under Pat Summitt? Really? Tell me what Pat Summitt did her last 4 years that Warlick didn't. Warlick was being underfunded, yet she still recruited as well as anybody. She still got Tennessee, which was dropping like a brick, even in reputation in the Southeastern Conference, and not necessarily because of her, but more because of administration. Like I said, they're not spending the money they used to. And she got equal billing with Connecticut. She got that rivalry back on there. That, if Tennessee Lady Vols basketball is to return, trust me, getting that series with Connecticut, being thought of now as equals to Connecticut when it appeared that they had passed them by the Lady Vols, 15, 20 years ago? At least. That's big. Warlick got the series. And what did she get in return? They knew that in Knoxville on Saturday night during the Women's College Basketball Hall of Fame ceremony. That's why she was very justifiably given the longest standing ovation of the night. There you go. Anyway, we're going to be talking to SoCon John Hooper here at the bottom of the hour. By the way, you want to go, you want to have some Schadenfreude? This is hard Schadenfreude. You want to have some Schadenfreude? All right. I saw this from somebody not from Tennessee. Saw this from a on Twitter from, I almost hesitated, person I know from Pittsburgh, or a Pittsburgh type tweet. You know, he's got a podcast. Who doesn't? That sort of thing. So it's a tradition like none other. Florida football players being arrested for murder. And yep, that's what happened. Tony Joyner, 8th player from Florida last 9 months to get in legal trouble, which is, excuse me, that I'm reading an old article there. Forgive me right there. Anyway, Tony Joyner's safety was arrested for murder in Lake Wales, Florida. I used to live in Lake Wales. That's actually where I moved up from to do this show, Lake Wales. He actually, I mentioned this, Tony Joyner during the Urban Meyer era, there was starting safety, was a captain, was once arrested, although I don't believe charges were continued. He wanted to try to get his car out of an impound yard, and basically the guy who was supposed to be going to the impound yard didn't show up in time. He had already paid for the car, and he was trying to get his car and all that, but he did something a little bit more serious than that over the weekend when he was arrested for murder. He's 33 years old, it was his wife or his girlfriend? Regardless, this was charged with the murder of her. She had previously been arrested for domestic violence issues. Joyner was a starting safety for the Gators in 06 and 07. Not any real great big play against Tennessee, but there's something about what Urban Meyer said back in the day about Tony Joyner. You want to take Schadenfreude. I love Tony Joyner. He loves football, and he loves the University of Florida. Protect the program. Doesn't just happen in Knoxville. It happens in Gainesville as well. That quote doesn't hold up very well under the circumstance, does it? So Tony Joyner, he's in the pokey. He, like I said, was arrested in Polk County, and he'll be going. He's from Fort Myers. He's going to be going and was transferred back to, I think it's Lee County in Florida, and he'll await trial for killing a woman. There you go. Allegedly. SoCon John Hooper, like myself, is a lady killer, but in a different manner entirely, a good way and all that. But he also knows everything there is to know about the Southern Conference. He's going to tell us about Jim Schaus as well as offensive line, tight ends, this upcoming season, the football league that is the Southern Conference. Well, what's going to happen here? We're going to have an in-depth conversation with SoCon John Hooper when we return after this.
Hurry to the meeting, run afternoon